Shan, if I had to rank us, just the three of us right now,
At what?
and our next guest,
In basketball?
and who, she obviously get number one.
Yeah, I'm two
I'm
for
number
sure.
two.
I'm two. No, I'm two for sure.
I'm bodying you.
How you doing?
Good to see you. I'm two for sure.
I'm bodying you, dog. I am bodying you,
Fred.
man. What's happening?
But the most accomplished
Yeah, she's the most accomplished for
by
sure.
far.
He tried to cut the conversation. We ranking the hoop skills. You dead last.
Man, you can't hoop at all?
No
No skills?
We didn't do that. Yeah. I tried to run track, but then I had a sexual encounter before the track meet. Couldn't finish the 400, and so my coach kicked me off. So I just played football my whole life.
You know he can't hoop when he goes straight to track and field. He ain't even say nothing about basketball.
Closest
straight to
thing to
track.
basketball is Kenny Smith knees. That's the closest. That's the closest he got.
My knees touch. They touch a little bit.
Hey, you made it to the league, dog.
That's what I'm saying.
They did what they needed to do,
I'm
Chad.
telling you, it made me some money. $1 million knees. Y'all leave me alone.
$1 million knees.
Hold up, limitless. Niggas to me, God pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On the vision, I can trust. Limitless. Niggas to me, God pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up.
Jonquel Jones, welcome to the show. Very excited to have you here. Congratulations on the championship.
Thank you.
It's been really cool since being named Finals MVP for more people to start telling your story. So we're very grateful you decided to tell it with us. Channing Crowder, Fred Taylor, Ryan Clark. It's a Pivot, a part of Fanatics. Pivot fam, thank you for pivoting with us. I'm gonna try to keep this all straight because it's a lot.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. 6th Woman of the Year, Most Improved Player, All-Star, All WNBA, League MVP, Commissioner's Cup MVP, Finals MVP, and WNBA World Champion. Right, so if I read all that, right, if I see that, the first thing I think is this has to be one of the most marketable women in hoops. And then I go through all the people the WNBA push, and JJ is not one of those people. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I don't know. I think for me, it's a little bit different. Like when you think about like the schools that I went to, like I went to a smaller school. I went to George Washington University. And a lot of the people that they try to push or that they do push, they went to bigger schools. And so automatically they have that following with them of like coming from a bigger school and having the numbers on social media. You know, earlier on, the league really just wanted to try to get as many viewers as possible. And I think they took the easy route versus like just telling the stories and seeing how people would engage with those stories and being able to tell so many different stories that everybody would be able to see themselves in an athlete when they stepped on the court. And so I think that's what it was. I think just like the following and the fan base wasn't there because I went to a smaller school and a lot of people really didn't know about me when I first came into the league. I think it just kind of snowballed, to be honest.
Is it changing now? Because it seemed like, to me personally, like in the last couple of years, like I couldn't rattle off 15 WNBA players 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Now I can go and have that conversation with what y'all doing, New York and Vegas and you know what I'm saying? Like they got some teams together.
Yeah.
Have you seen the change personally? You know, even fame-wise and honestly, financially, have you seen the change?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a change within even like the last 2 years. It's a big change. Obviously, I think, you know, the hype from Cailtlin Clark and Angel Reese playing in college, obviously, and having their fans kind of follow the league. But just all of the things that we've kind of been doing over the years as well, trying to grow the league and making sure that our faces are seen. But I think even just being in New York, I think my first few years I was in Connecticut. I came from a small school, so it was kind of like a double whammy for me, just like being in a smaller market and not really being able to kind of grow my fan base and have people really see me. But being in New York City, man, it's been amazing. And that culminated with everything that's been going on with the league has been like second to none. So I'm walking around, people are like yelling at me like, go Liberty, like y'all gonna win the championship. Even last year, like, thank you for coming to New York, and it's been super crazy. But yeah, I think the league is just growing in a really great way. And like you said, I think the social aspect of it has changed too. Like before you would get on social media and you would go under like a WNBA post and it would be like people talking crazy like, oh, get in the kitchen, make me a sandwich, crazy stuff like that. And now it's it's like if you're not watching the WNBA, you're missing out, you know? And so it's like the social aspect of the league has changed to where it's positive and people are really tuned into our game and what we can do, because the product has always been great. It's just that we haven't had people really pushing it in the right ways, first of all, and we haven't had people, you know, watching it to the levels that it deserves to be watched and viewed. So it's growing. For me, financially, I feel like it's good. It could be better. I think, you know, doing interviews and sitting with you guys really helps a lot to you know, get it where it needs to be. But obviously, I still play overseas, and I still make way more money overseas than I do in the WNBA or with my marketing. If that was combined, I still make way more money. So what I want it to be, even if it's not for me, it would be cool if it was for me. But like when I leave the league, I want players to be able to not have to go overseas and be able to make that type of money here, you know, in the U.S. with their families and loved ones. So yeah, I think that's the growing point.
Yeah, RC mentioned the stats, the awards, you know, the marketability and how the WNBA is in upward trajectory of growth. Mm-hmm. What people tend to miss is the journey, right? Mm-hmm. Could you speak to us a little bit about the steps it took to get there? You were, you know, 5'9", coming from Bahamas to Maryland, and now you're what, 6'6"?
Yep.
A lot of hard work, all that effort. Like, take us there.
Oh man, like where do I even start? I just remember, so like when I was growing up playing basketball, like I had like a AAU coach that kind of was like my main coach, and like he always wanted us to have like the experiences of like traveling and seeing how other people approach the game of basketball, and just like understanding that like if you weren't working hard, somebody else was working hard, right? And so he would always take us to Florida, because you know the Bahamas is like right underneath Florida. He would always take us to like Florida, Boynton Beach, and different places like that, just to kind of like get the experience of seeing these other teams play and playing against people that were not just in the Bahamas. And I just remember like probably like maybe like 7 or 8, and I just remember like the kids were just so much more skilled than we were, you know. And it was like the first time I just like thought about it. I'm just like, why? Like they're the same age as me. Like how are they so much better than me? And then they took us to like the different schools, and I'm like, every school has a basketball gym, you know, like things that kids in the U.S. kind of take for granted. Like we had on my island, we had maybe 2 basketball gyms, and to get access to that was really hard. Like most times you playing outside, the sun beating down on you, like you know what I'm saying? Like you didn't have the opportunity to play in those gyms. Like we had the YMCA and maybe like one other high school. So, you know, just seeing all these different resources that these kids had, I'm just like, oh, like it makes more sense. Like they have camps, they have people that are pouring into them, they have the facilities, and so it's allowing them to kind of get better at a faster rate than we're getting better. So even at that young age, it was kind of like, oh, okay, like the U.S. is really where I need to be if I really want to like take the game seriously and like really want to like be a professional athlete, because ever since I was a little kid, I knew that I wanted to be a pro athlete. Like that was it. That was the end all, be all. That was the dream. That was the goal. Like it was no plan B, you know. And so for me, like that, it kind of planted that seed. And I started to ask my parents about it, and my mom was like, "No, I'm not letting you go. You my baby, and you too young." And the typical thing that a mom would say, obviously. And I agree with her, to be honest with you. I was too young at the time, but finally, at the age of 13, I got in contact with a coach that was willing to, you know, bring me over and allow me to join their team. And she also let me live with her. Her name was Diane Richardson, and I ended up living with her, but like basically becoming a part of her family. But I just remember like the first time I stepped off the plane, like I didn't know that she was gonna take me like straight to practice to like meet the team and like just like run with them to see how I could hoop, you know, because at that time we didn't really have like highlight tapes and all that stuff. Like she's kind of like taking our word for it, taking my coach's word for it, and really taking a chance on me. So I'm getting off the plane thinking like I'm just about to go to the house and chill and just have a regular day. She's like, oh no, we going to practice. And I just remember being in the car, like we had maybe like a 40-minute drive, and I was just terrified, like just like so nervous about like fitting in with this team and playing good and all this stuff. And we got to the gym, and like I'd never been in the cold like that before either. It was kind of like wintertime. I remember getting in the bathroom, and I'm like putting on my basketball stuff, and I look down, I'm like, oh shit, I'm ashy. Like I'm meeting these people for the first time, and I'm ashy. Like I'm super scared now.
And you didn't have any kicks either, right?
Nah, I mean, I think I had like a pair of basketball shoes, but like I said, we played outside all the time, so like I had some beat up shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing crazy like that. But yeah, I'm just like just being super nervous. I remember walking out of the gym and practicing with them, and everything went well, obviously, because I stayed. And like I said, I became a part of her family, and I played JV like a year and a half into, so like 9th grade and half of like 10th grade year, I was still playing JV. And I just developed over time of just like being hungry. I remember like just riding with her after games and stuff and just being like what can I do to play? Like what can I do to help the team? Because I was in the US and I wasn't getting no playing time. I was on the bench. You know, like even one of my teammates came to me back then was like, if I was you and I was all the way from the Bahamas and I wasn't playing, I'd just go back to the Bahamas. And I just like, it was just like a dagger. I was just like, dang. Like,
That sounds like a Florida thing, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That sounds like some legit from Florida say, shit, if I was you, I'll go back to the
home.
crib.
Look
Hey,
at
but
you now.
I was in Maryland, but yeah, that's some real stuff. Like I just go back home and go to my family, but I think for me it's just always been like just sticking things through. Like no matter what it is that I was going through, like I just knew that I could just like I put in a little bit more effort, work a little bit harder. It was never about giving up. It was like I'm where I'm supposed to be. I just got to work a little bit harder. And I just remember talking to her about like what I could do to just like make my game better and work harder. And I don't know, I just love hooping. Between like playing video games and playing basketball, if I could do those two things, I'm good. And that's basically what I was doing.
You know, when you won the Finals MVP, you talked about it being delayed but not denied.
Yep.
And listening to the story of how you had to earn your way through the ranks, it's sort of like the WNBA story
Yes.
too.
Yes.
You know, kind of always knocking on the door,
Yes.
but they weren't letting you in. What was it like to be so close and have those failures in those moments?
It's tough. I don't know, like I love the game so much, and I know y'all know as athletes, but like, I don't know, when you get so close and you lose, like I felt like I went into like a deep depression, to be honest with you. Like I went into like a state of mourning every single time that we lost. And, you know, thank God for my family and my fiance and like everybody that's poured into me that I could call them and talk to them and really like just deal with it. But like I wasn't on social media, I would just like hide from the world and just like wait until next year to try to go after it again, to be honest with you. And I think for me, the celebration of winning the championship this year is great and it's a highlight, but I think the main thing that I'm most appreciative of is the fact that like I can just like I could watch basketball. Like, you know what I'm saying? I could watch basketball. I could be on social media. I could just like exist
life.
and not, I can just live, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like when I lost, I couldn't do none of that. Like, oh, the NBA on, I don't want to watch no basketball. Like my heart broken right now. I can't even watch that. Like, you know, oh, they on social media talking about they parade and all this stuff. And like I can't be on there. I just can't, because like mentally it was just too much for me. Because you exert yourself and you put so much into it trying to get a championship and then you fall short. And then to have it happen multiple times, like it was really draining, to be honest with you. But now that I can step back and like look at it, I guess with a lens like not being so close, you are right. Like that's just been the story of my life. And the only difference between me and other people that aren't in my shoes is that I just didn't give up. I didn't give up. I didn't, you know, of course, in those moments I dealt with the depression and all that stuff, but I kept going and I was ready for the next year. And when the opportunity came, I stepped up in those big moments, and my teammates did the same thing, and now it's a different outcome.
Talk about that jump. You were good. You were cool. You put some points on the board. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then you became the best player in the league. Like, what was? I knew you took that COVID year off and all that. Like, was it? Because you talked about the pressure. Was it mental? Was it physical? Because you ain't gained 3 inches since then. You was the same size.
Yeah.
But it was just something like you were most improved. So that means I don't say you wasn't that good, but you was okay. And then they said, oh, he most improved to the best player in the league. Like, what were those steps? Was it mental? Was it physical? Had your game, the handles, the knowledge of the game? What was that?
I don't know. I might get in trouble for saying this, but I'm going to be 100% real with y'all right now. So I was playing overseas. I was playing in Russia. At that time, like my Nike contract was coming up, right? I think an Olympic year was the next year. And obviously any big brand, they're going to try to endorse Olympians because, you know, they're about to be on the biggest stage. Everybody's about to be watching them. And at the time, like Nike was kind of like, we want you, but we really got to get these Olympians first. And I just remember like talking to my agent and just being like, nah, like they tripping. And I told him, I was like, you tell Nike, get back on the phone with Nike, and you tell them next year I'm about to win MVP. I'm about to take over the league. And if they don't re-sign me, they're gonna look stupid. Just like that. And he went back to them and he told them verbatim, got my Nike contract back, next year MVP, to be honest with you. And I think that was the mental shift for me. Like obviously, there's growing pains when you first come into the league. Like, you're playing against grown women who've been in the league multiple years, who know how to do this as professionals. And so obviously there's going to be like that time that you need to adjust. But I think for me, like, it was just like man, like, these people really playing with me for real. You know, like, I'm not about to, y'all not about to keep playing with me. And I told my agent, he went back to them, and I got the deal, and I did everything that I said that I was going to do, to be honest with you.
I love it.
Getting to the point where you were able to win the Finals MVP award, it was not an easy feat. A year ago, you guys battled versus the Aces. That didn't go your way. This year, you find a way to beat the Aces, make it to the Finals versus the Lynx. Tough battle there. You grinded, you did your thing. To win the Finals MVP, what did you learn most about yourself?
Yeah. The first thing I learned is that I'm just really resilient. I think that's the main thing. The second thing that I learned, not really about myself, but just about the moments, is just like, I know it sounds super cliche, but to like literally to like appreciate the moment. And I think for me this year, I really went into it and it was just like we're not about to go out there and just like play not to lose. That's the first thing. Like, we're not about to do that. We're not about to be out there focusing on the outcome during the game and worrying about, you know, every little thing, and kind of just, it allows the moment to kind of get bigger than you. And I think that was really the main thing that I focused on. Like, before every single game in the finals, like, I literally would just look up at the crowd before they called us in the starting lineup and be like, look at this. Like, look at women's sports. Look at what we're doing. Like, the gym is packed. Like, these people are in here watching the game. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just to really just sit in the moment of, you worked so hard to be here and you dreamed about these moments. Like, you were the little kid, you know, like shooting free throws on the blacktop outside, like envisioning for the championship. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, stuff like that. And you get into these moments and like the preparation of it and the pressure, all that stuff, it kind of, and sometimes you forget just how far you've actually come. And so I sat in that moment of just like appreciation before anything else and gratitude. And then I just went out there and I just played basketball. And I think when they called me for the Finals MVP, like, that look on my face of me being so surprised was because I wasn't even looking at the numbers, to be honest with you. Like, I wasn't looking at my stats. I couldn't even tell you what I was averaging during the series, because for me it didn't matter. Like, I had come up short so many times that it didn't matter how much I scored. It would matter if we won the game. And then it mattered if we won the next game and then the next one. And that's why I was so shocked. It wasn't like I didn't feel like I deserved it or I wasn't thinking about it in that sense, but it was just that I was just trying to focus on getting the job done and not having to be, you know, thinking about or having to be the person that fell short again. And I think that's why I was so surprised. But yeah, the resiliency is one of the things that sticks out to me, and just the gratitude of just really thanking God for being in that position. And then also being able to be loose and go out there and just play good basketball.
Right.
It was 17, by the way.
Yeah.
The Liberty was comprised of the most players on the WNBA team. If you guys didn't win, would that have been a letdown? With you, Stewart, Ionescu, would it have been a letdown if you guys didn't win?
Yes. But I don't think, not because of the all WNBA team stuff, but because of how last year finished. And I think, and I spoke to them about this, I think if we won the championship last year, I don't even think we're in the championship this year. I think there would have been a certain level of complacency with us being a team that literally just came together, made it to a championship, and then won a championship. I think we would have kind of taken it for granted a little bit. But we had so many conversations about that feeling of coming up short, and then coming up short the way that we did in the first year with the Aces losing 2 starters, you know, and their bench really coming in and like closing it out on us. Like, that was a gut punch, you know, for us as competitors, and then us as a team too, who really thought at that time that we had really worked through a lot of the things that we needed to be successful. And so we came back to the drawing board, and we looked ourselves in the mirror, and we were really honest about what it was that we needed to do to be able to win. And I think that's why it would have been a gut punch, because we put in so much work as a team and as individuals to be able to be successful. Y'all watch sports, y'all are athletes. Sometimes talent does not translate to a team winning or even a team having chemistry.
Yeah.
I don't think the all WNBA team thing would have been the biggest letdown or would have caused it to be a letdown, but just the fact that we knew that we were capable of being able to win.
I thought you was gonna hit me with the, I guess we'll never know.
Nah, I feel like that's cliche now, man. Like, it's kind of cliche now.
Yeah, I mean, it was from a WNBA standard, a super team that sort of came together. And like I was saying, it was 17 points, by the way, just in case you'd like to know for the next few shows you go on.
No, I know now. I know now. But, you know.
Hey, fellas, we all have these daily routines we get into. And as regimented people from being in the league, we hate when those things are thrown off. Tell me a routine you have that you hate when a monkey wrench is thrown into that plan.
Man, I gotta get my kombucha in the morning. We travel so much, man, I can't find my kombucha, man. My stomach, I feel bloated and all, man. Let me get a kombucha, let me get my probiotics in me. But when that's thrown off, man, I feel the difference when kombucha's not in my life.
I can't help but laugh at you because I'm the same way. But I'm not kombucha. I'm just lemon and ginger, hot water. To get my system flowing, I gotta have that every morning, RC. I'm simple.
Well, fellas, thankfully, you know what doesn't get skipped? Daily rewards from Fanatics Sportsbook.
Bro, every day you'll get a new offer from them, guaranteed.
Bet and get profit boosts and more.
Head to the Fanatics Sportsbook app each day and see what offer is waiting there for you.
The WNBA is a league that has always had such skillful players. And it was about putting them on the right stage in order to showcase their talent, which I think this year did more than any other year in its existence. But on top of it being a minority league, right, and just being women, it's also over 75% black.
Yep.
And then you add to that, it's also you in particular are a woman, you're black, and you're a lesbian. When I think of the WNBA names I know, and you can push back if you like, I think of Sabrina, I think of Cailtlin, I think of Asia, right? You think of Angel Reese. Those women are heterosexual women and also very good basketball players.
Yes, most definitely.
How much does being a black lesbian in that league play a part in the difficulty in the league marketing you with all of your accolades?
I don't know. I think for me, I'm not in those rooms when those decisions are made. I do feel like our league has a high percentage of lesbian women. And so there are a lot of women that are queer that are being marketed and are being advertised. So I'm not sure if that is I don't think my sexuality is the main thing. There's a reason why it's called a minority, right? And to be at the intersectionality of so many of those marginalized groups, I feel like, especially in the USA, it would probably be dumb of me to say that I'm not being affected by it in some type of way. But I think that the way that the league has marketed in the past is a thing of the past. I feel like the WNBA is moving in a new direction. I hope I'm right, that they're giving more athletes the opportunities to be able to tell their stories. Like I did something a few years ago for ESPN where I talked about this and I said that I think that the league, if the league is going to be its best, it's a league that allows everyone to have a seat at the table in terms of the people that are playing in this league and being able to share their stories. And I think it's growing, and I genuinely hope that, in a few years we can really see more variety of players and people really being able to share their stories. So we'll see.
With all, like you're saying, the minorities of all those sectors or something.
Yeah.
But just looking at basketball, period, NBA, it's hard to market a big.
Yeah.
It's because people love Steph Curry because he's their size and he looks like them. And I can try to do that and shoot threes where what you do to people is just whoop their ass down low and you know what I'm saying? And it's just not, it's not relatable.
Oh, you trying to say it's not cute?
It's not a cute game. You be beating the hell out of people, but I can't watch you and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get down there with them. I'm not getting down there with y'all. But just being a big, I think that's part of the marketing, right?
I think so. I think definitely the more highlight plays you can kind of push out there, the easier it is going to be for marketability. But I think that we can find spaces for people. There's different products that we use. There's different, there's so many different ways to reach people now with social media and have that fan engagement. And so, I don't know, I think style of play, if you're gonna use that as like the main reason to not be able to market somebody, I think you kind of copping out a little bit.
Yeah.
Agreed. You gotta act crazy like Shaq does. For real, start doing crazy stuff, spraying super soakers on people.
Right,
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
Just show up and just act out.
Name another big that really got marketed like that in the history of basketball.
You got to think too. It's also some of what the individual is willing to do.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
like there are ways that you could market yourself that I wouldn't because it's just not my personality. The same
Right.
thing with Fred. Fred probably also with me. And there are people who are comfortable being a certain thing because that's truly who they authentically are. And I think the hard part about marketing is it's like, how do I take who I truly am and give that to the people? And then there's also like the part of that there's a vulnerability in that too. Champions Cup, man, it be like that.
Man,
You know
I'm
what I'm
telling
saying?
you, that's too much partying, man.
You know what I mean? Champions Cup. They don't know though. Like
Oh,
it's not
here we
really.
go.
JJ, it's not really like, because I was just, you know what, let's get back to that. I was thinking, it's a lot of things we share,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like we share in the fact that we won a ring, but we also got to championships and didn't,
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas on their side, Jay, they don't know either one of them.
Oh, y'all ain't
right?
never been to a chip before?
Yeah, they don't.
I didn't go on a pro level. I played in college.
Okay,
I
okay.
mean, that counts for something,
That
right?
does count for something.
I was on the same thing. I lost a national championship and I won one.
Yeah.
You ain't gotta
I
be
know
nice
the
'cause you
feeling.
here. Hey, you ain't got. Hey,
He ain't
you
gotta
ain't
look.
gotta
He be
nice
trying
'cause
to
you
throw us
here.
under all type of shit. I know the feeling. I know the feeling.
Of coming up short. Yeah.
And of winning the championship.
And
I
of
was
winning
young,
one,
so it
yeah.
felt like I won the
Yeah.
championship.
Yeah,
It
you
felt that way.
8th grade North Georgia Gatorade Championship.
Oh, not 8th grade. He's looking
Jay,
back to 8th
What'd you
grade.
do? What sport was that? Football? Hell, football.
He couldn't even celebrate though. At least I could go
Yo.
get drunk in college.
He said 8th grade. That's crazy work.
when you come together as a super team and you don't win it,
Yeah.
right? And it's really cool what you said, because Becky Hammond said something very similar about the Aces this year, right? She said, I feel like other teams looked at this offseason in a different way than we did.
Yeah.
It makes me think, both of these guys live in South Florida. It makes me think about the big three though, right? They came together and they didn't win it. Did y'all in any way look at their process of like, okay, we didn't get this one, but we know we have to come back this year and be better?
Yeah, most definitely. One of my coaches that I grew up with, she's the head coach at Ole Miss, and she kept saying it to me like when Bron and them came together in Miami, they didn't win it the first year. And she kept preaching that to me. Her name is Coach Yolette McPhee-McEwen. She's the head coach at Ole Miss. But we just understood that it was going to take a little bit more. We understood that, I don't know, like, of course we would have celebrated and it would have been a great thing for New York City, but to come together in that first year and win, like, we just knew that we were gonna take it for granted in some point, like at some stage. And so I think that was the main thing of just like, there were some things and some conversations last year that we didn't have that we needed to have, but we didn't have the chemistry to be able to have those conversations. We didn't have the connection with each other to really sit back and really just be honest and, like brutally honest to the point where you figure it out and you get something done. And this year we did that. And it takes growth and it takes time to be able to get there as a team. I think that's the main thing, though.
And it's that, speaking of the Heat, because when I'm down there, I cover the Heat, too old. I got down in 05, so I saw it all.
Yeah.
And it was that, did y'all had a banana boat moment? Remember the banana boat?
Nah, what's the banana boat
You ain't
moment?
see?
I was a little bit younger.
LeBron, Wade, Bosh, and Melo.
CP3.
Who was CP? Not Melo. CP3.
Melo said he didn't make the banana boat.
Yeah, and they all on the banana boat, riding the banana boat, and it went viral and all that.
But the reason the banana boat's an issue is because in order to ride a banana boat, you got to straddle the boat like this.
I'm from the Bahamas. I know what a banana boat is.
So you know the banana boats.
Yeah,
Them big
yeah,
old
yeah.
motherfuckers piled up on the banana boat together looking at the show. But the story deeper to that picture was that first year,
Yeah.
like they didn't really know how to play with each other. And the story is that D Wade kind of took LeBron to the side and was like, I'm gonna start. He got a championship with Shaq. But he was like, bro, you're coming up. He's like, you take the team over. Like they had to really have that. It's funny, I reminded me because you just said that.
Yeah.
Had to have a real grown-up conversation, a teammate conversation, going from year 1 to year 2 with a super team is what it is.
Yeah.
Was there any moment where it was like y'all had that flat out conversation of, hey, we tried this shit last year. we need to do something different this year?
We didn't really have like a.
You know, weed legal here.
No, that's Hennessy cough there.
Shut up, man.
That white Hennessy.
That's that 1942 call.
1942. Get stuck right here. It gets stuck right here.
Y'all stupid.
She don't have no mixer either.
Nah,
it's
straight up.
championship.
Yeah.
You get 1942.
To the head.
Neat. Neat. And it ain't neat because you know you win a championship. You like, man, we don't need no cups.
Oh
Yeah,
man, y'all funny, man.
Yeah, we
right.
partied a little bit.
We didn't really have the banana boat moment. I think our moment was kind of like when we shifted really to kind of like just focusing on like the big three versus like I think when we first came in it was like Sloot and Benaja and Sabrina and Stewie and me and like we were all just trying to make sure everybody like had a piece of it and like it was just too much, you know. And I think our head coach Sandy, she really just talked to us and she was like I have to focus on y'all three. Like we need a big three right now. We have to be okay with that as a team. And we talked about that as a team and you know, everybody just understood that you had to really just fill your role and do it to the best of your ability. And I think that's when we kind of really started playing way better. I also think like last year I started off the season injured. I didn't really get into my momentum all the way and everybody else had kind of figured out their roles on the team. And for me, I was just kind of just like, I was still trying to figure it out late into the year. And I ended up playing really well in the playoffs, but that's because I started to figure out like my feel and my flow with the team and where I fit in. We really had growing pains all year last year, so for us to make it to a championship, that was a feat within itself, to be honest. And then it ended up showing in Game 4 when Vegas beat us, but you know.
Man, we always talking about trailblazers. Have y'all watched Shohei Ohtani this year? He is a trailblazer, ace pitcher and the DH, 50 and 50. He was down in Miami when he hit the 50-50 as a pitcher and a DH. I'm telling you, talking about trailblazers, just like JBL Tour Pro 3s. Shohei's a trailblazer, JBL, they trailblazer.
And Chan, the coolest part is JBL Tour Pro 3 earbuds are packed with innovation because you can't stand out by following other folks. And that's what we all about at The Pivot.
They have a touchscreen smart charging case for one-touch control. You can even control your audio without reaching for your phone.
And it's also instant EQ customization and true adaptive noise canceling. On the plane, it's the best for them loud babies.
With its built-in one-of-a-kind audio transmitter, you can plug and play with any device you want, from game consoles to in-flight entertainment, connecting you to all your favorite music, movies, and games.
Plus, you get spatial 360 sound. That takes any audio and turns it into a 360 immersive experience.
And that means on these bad boys, you can listen to music, podcasts, whatever you want. And the JBL Tour Pro 3s, this is the Pivot's go-to.
First doesn't follow. The new JBL Tour Pro 3s. Grab a pair at jbl.com.
You don't always get the recognition you deserve. And there are a lot of other players around the league that have similar, things that follow them. How does your story resonate with some of the other players? Do a few of y'all, or has a few of y'all had conversations about what can be done to sort of change those things?
Yeah, no, I haven't really talked to anybody else about it. I don't know, I look at a lot of especially black players that are legends that have come through the league and they kind of have their farewell tours and I'm just like, that's not what they deserve, And I feel like sometimes I get a little bit of animosity when I think about it because I just know how much they've given to the league and how much they meant to a lot of us younger players watching them, and then to see them have their farewell tours and I feel like it's lackluster or something is missing. I don't like that part of it. And I feel like for me, when I think about it, I think Simone Augustus was one of those people for me who was just a legend. For real, I just felt like she deserved more when it was her time to, get her flowers and get what she deserved. And I don't know, sometimes I talk to my fiance about it. I'm like, I'm giving all my years to the league, but what's gonna happen when I decide to hang it up? Are they gonna treat me the same way they did these people? You understand what I'm saying? So I think we just have to continue to use the platforms like me sitting here talking about it and being 100% honest. I think sometimes, and I fall into this category a lot, because I was raised a certain type of way of having manners and respect and carrying yourself a certain way. sometimes I try to be too politically correct, and sometimes when you're too PC, you end up losing out too. You know, because there's other people, they're speaking up about what they want, whether it's right or wrong in that situation, and they're getting what they deserve. And so sometimes you just have to be brutally honest about the things that you see, the things that you feel, and allow people to then meet you there and, you know, try to alleviate that or fix that. I don't know, I just hope that as we have more players that are done with their careers or even during their careers, that we can continue to just like give people their flowers. Like Tina Charles, I think, became second all time in WNBA scoring this year, and it was crickets. Like, we barely heard it, you know? This is someone, like, in order to do that, it takes longevity, it takes years of sacrifice and giving to the league and giving to yourself to be able to be in that position, and we're not even celebrating her properly.
That's
you know?
a league thing, though,
That's
right?
a league thing, exactly. So we have to fix that. Like, it's not about, like, who you are, it's about what you're doing, it's about how you're playing, and the numbers don't lie. So we gotta be honest about it, and we gotta continue to uplift people that have given so much to this league.
You mentioned Simone Augustus. One of my homies, Tina Thompson, was a dog out there. Earlier, you also mentioned that you knew you wanted to go pro. You wanted to be a professional player. What inspired that, and who were some of your favorites coming up?
Some of my favorites coming up, I really didn't know much about like the WNBA when I was in the Bahamas. I learned more about the WNBA when I moved to the US, like as I got older. But like we didn't have, like, of course we had cable and all that stuff, but like the WNBA games, we didn't really have that. I remember I was at my grandmother's house like one year and I saw it. I'm like, Detroit Shock, like who is, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, these women playing. Like this is crazy. But college was always like that main thing that I always wanted to do. Like college was that main thing. And so I said her name already, but Coach Yolette McPhee-McEwen, she was like my inspiration. Like her dad was the AAU coach that I talked about earlier. And she went to Rhode Island, and she would always come back home and make sure like we had the things that we needed and pour into us too. And so she was like my role model growing up for sure. But other greats, Candace Parker, Lisa Leslie, obviously, Tina Thompson, Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, you know, Lauren Jackson, like that big that could just do it all. Those are the type of people that obviously like I watched a lot of. Even like Elena Del Don too, like when I was in college, like her game translated very well to my game because I could step out and shoot the three, you know, and take people off the dribble and different stuff like that. And so I watched a lot of her clips and like used like her preparation of how she prepared before the games, like her shooting and different stuff like that to mold that into my game. So a lot of those people.
When you started dunking?
I was close in high school, but I could only like dunk a tennis ball. But I think like maybe like second year in the league or something like that. Yeah, second year in the league is when I really, and then I think, yeah, second year in the league was also when I dunked in the All-Star game too. So yeah, I would say around that time. Yeah.
So Simone, her pops, when she was in high school, I went to LSU as well. He would bring her to the rec center, and he would just stand on the side and just watch her play with like men. And she was obviously the most skilled person on the court. So then what she did in school, then what she went on to do in Minnesota, like we all knew, but when you see her, she's still so unassuming.
Yeah.
Right, just cool as hell, chill, laid back. And it brought me to something you said about when you're PC, right? Or when you don't speak up for certain things. Simone don't talk.
Yep.
Right, and so even though she was great, she was winning championships, she wasn't the one that they focused on. For you, in knowing that and being able to verbalize, maybe because I'm so PC, how are you going to approach that going forward? Are you going to change some of those things, understanding that you may not get what you want or what you truly deserve if you don't?
Yeah, I think even me just sitting here and just like being completely honest about the stories that I'm telling. Like, you know, in the past, someone probably would have asked me like, oh, like when did you make your jump to MVP? And I wouldn't have told y'all that story that I told y'all before because I'm like, oh, that's gonna make them look this type of way, or that's gonna make this person look that type of way. How is it gonna be received? And you start overthinking it and you're protecting everybody, but you're not protecting yourself. You know, I think that's the main thing. It's like you're looking out for everybody else's best interest, but who's looking out for your best interest? You know, and so there is not a happy medium, but there is a balance of it, obviously. I'm not about to just be out here just wilding, but you understand what I'm saying? Like I still got some, in the Bahamas we say brought up seat. I still got some brought up seat, like I was brought up right. But for the most part, like, yeah, me sitting here and just being honest with y'all, I think is like a big step for me, to be honest with you. I'll continue to do that and and just understand that like my voice does carry a lot of power. And like, I don't know, I think sometimes when you're from where I'm from, like Bahamian people are so humble too, that sometimes you step into certain spaces, and I think the humility, which is a good thing at times, can also be a bad thing. So like I said, it's a happy medium with everything. I'm in a balance with everything, and I'll continue to try to strike that balance and find that balance as I move forward.
Have you met Jazz since he's been here?
Yeah, I got this. Anyway, let me be quiet.
I have a
I'm about
question.
to talk too much again.
Hold on, so when you listen, so Jazz is a friend of the show.
Yeah.
Jazz did our show before this season, and it was one of the best sit downs we had. You know, you talked about being PC,
I did see that, actually.
and you talked about you know being humble as Bahamian
trait.
He ain't got him.
He from, what island you from?
Yeah, I don't.
He from another island.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because you were saying that, I was like,
Jazz ain't like that.
I was thinking to myself, is Jazz from somewhere else?
He's from Exumas.
Maybe the hospitality is it, like actually wanting people to feel like they're a part of everything. Maybe the humility is more me.
Yeah, but I do want to ask that, though.
Yeah.
You see people like Jazz who gets an opportunity to come from Florida where it was this talent that was sort of wasting away to being in New York, and now the world being able to see that. Sort of the same with you. You know, you're playing in a small market in Connecticut. Now you come to New York and you win it, and you get that sort of visibility. I'm from New Orleans. Like when you said Simone, I was like, hell yeah. You know, like I get fired up about that. How much of that pride, though, do you have in the Bahamas and wanting to make sure people not only know that they're great athletes that can come there, but start pouring into the Bahamas to help the younger generation as well?
Obviously, I can do stuff while I'm playing basketball, but I think that's what I want my second act to be. Like when I'm really done playing basketball, is just making sure that the infrastructure in the Bahamas is there to allow like the great potential that we have to not be wasted. I mean, obviously, when you look at the amount of athletes that have come out of the Bahamas, like per capita is crazy, to be honest with you. Even just look at like our men's basketball team. You got like Buddy Hield, DeAndre Ayton. You know, my cousin, Antoine Smith, he plays overseas. We just have so many people. Klay Thompson, obviously, and his dad and his family. But we have so many people that have so much potential, but they have to leave home and be able to have that opportunity to then be able to be successful. And if someone didn't take a chance on me, I'd be one of those people in the Bahamas, you know, that was talking like, man, I could have been in the WNBA, and everybody be like, be quiet, girl, flip that burger, you know what I'm saying? Like something crazy like that. But someone took a chance on me, and like I'm sitting here with y'all today, and I think we just need to make it easier for our athletes. We need to just understand that the level of investment is really important, and the Bahamas is a really big like tourist destination. Tourism is our main industry, but we have to understand that like the athletes and the potential that we have needs to be like, it has to be big on the list. Like, you know what I'm saying? We have to really try to do that.
Chan, what you do, you going through the grocery store, Publix is your grocery store, right?
I love Publix.
And JJ up there taking your, if she didn't make it to the league, is she up there taking your, getting your groceries and typing them in, and she's 6'6", the first thing you gonna ask is like, why you ain't hooping?
I did it before at churches. There's a big old motherfucker at church, 6'8". I said, bro, you ain't got no cousins, no uncles. What you doing in here giving me chicken? I swear to God.
Yeah, what he said? You probably mad.
That mumbling ass shit because he knew he messed up. Yeah. I had to say, Jay, I think I'm in the Bahamas more than you are.
You
I be
probably
in Bahamas, I be riding over to Bimini to fish.
See,
I'm right there in
dang.
Miami. We can shoot across an hour and 40.
Heck
Yeah, you get a
yeah.
fast enough boat.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
See, I wanna live down there, but you know, when you got island family, they start shipping all the packages to your house. They start popping up. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta have a little bit of separation. And also them hurricanes scare me, man. I've been through so many like really bad hurricanes as a kid in the Bahamas that like, I don't know. That's why I'm up in Georgia now. I'm like, it's too close down there.
Okay, if you see a big old light-skinned motherfucker snorkeling at Bahamas, that's me out there. I be snorkeling my ass off around that little rock peak. Yeah.
We love Bahamas. Bahamas is nice, man.
Man, that's nice as hell. I wanted to ask about like the sexism of it with the Cailtlin Clark situation, and not about her, but the whole thing about, you know, like people were kind of, I would say, roughing her up and all that. I'm like, this is sports. These are competitors.
Yeah.
And, you know, let me know if I'm speaking out of place. I'm like, them young ladies come in the league, and you got to let them know how the league is.
Yeah.
It don't have nothing to do with race or color or religion or nothing like that. It's like, hey, I'm a vet. I'm an MVP. You gonna come down here in the paint with me? Back in the day when we watched it, you don't come down in the paint without getting roughed up. Look, are we wrong by saying that? It had nothing to do with it. The boys can do it, but the ladies can't do it.
Yeah.
That was my problem with the whole situation.
Yeah, it was crazy. Just the whole narrative that was being pushed, like it's just like nah, like, and it always felt like it was from people that just don't know about sports or don't really understand sports, because you don't have to explain that to an athlete. You didn't have to even explain that to Cailtlin Clark. She understood what it was going to be like before she came into the league, and that we're not about to roll out the red carpet for you and have you bust our ass looking crazy on Sports Center. You know what I'm saying? Like we competitors too, and we're here for a reason. And the amount of people that actually make it to the WNBA is very slim. So the competitive drive and what you're going to feel out there and what you're going to go through out there is going to be tough. You know, and so she understood that. We understood that it was never anything malicious. It was never any ill intent. It was just that we trying to win this game, and she's a player that can really affect how the game goes, whether we're successful or unsuccessful, and we got to get her out of the game. And that's just what it was.
With her, all the talk in the media, the visibility on the game, the growth, projected growth. You know, it's strange that when you look at like men's basketball and football, you can look at cities and say, this city is a marketable city.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas you're here in New York,
Yeah.
other places, it's not necessarily the same. But you guys were able to, through your CBA, strike a media deal this past year. How excited, you know, what's the buzz around the league amongst the women, and how excited are you all to see that happening and to be able to have an outlook to say, all right, we finally might be able to start receiving our due?
Yeah, man. I think everybody's excited. That's the first thing. Like we understand that we're getting it to the percentages that we want it to be at, and I think that's been the biggest thing that we've seen in the media, where we're just like, people are misconstruing what we're trying to say. We're not saying we want to be paid like NBA players. We're saying we want the same percentages as NBA players. And so I think that was the biggest thing. And so as the league has grown, obviously there's going to be more viewership. There's going to be more games on television. And we understand that means that eventually there's going to be more money in the players' pockets. And for me, I don't know, maybe I'll be able to reap the benefits of that while I'm playing, but I know that when I leave the league, like, these young bucks that's going to be coming in after me, they're going to be like, overseas what? They don't have to do that.
Yeah.
They're not going to have to do that. And so that's a beautiful thing. And so I love that for the game, and I love that for the future WNBA players, that's not going to have to be something that is a reality for them.
Even the NFL, they've taken their show on the road internationally. You know, the NBA, Dubai, and NFL in Germany, Ireland. You know, they're in London. Have there been talks amongst the WNBA to do that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so they did one last year. Yeah, I think it was last year. They went up to Toronto and they sold that place out, man. They sold out the gym in Toronto. And that was the first time I think a WNBA team had played up there, because they don't have a team up there. And after that, it was like big talks like, oh, Toronto needs a team.
Sort of like where you guys play overseas.
Yeah.
Like that sort of push where, you know, they come and watch you guys get compensated, you know, a lot better than the teams here, to be able to take an American team and highlight it in those sort of overseas markets.
Show up,
I think that would be something
I think it would be amazing. I think that's going to be a big step for I think it's going to be a big step for the WNBA to start doing that and like really helping to grow the league and the game over there. And I also think it'll help like in terms of like having a better relationship with like FIBA and because you know we have to show up at training camp a certain time, right? But a lot of the teams overseas are still having their season during that time. And so I feel like there needs to be like a better relationship between like FIBA and like EuroLeague and the WNBA, because they're asking us to be back at a certain time, but we still have our overseas commitments. And so now we're losing like percentages of our WNBA salary if we're not back at a certain time. So it takes away certain places where we could play certain money that we could make, because now we have to show up at camp at a certain time, where in the past it wasn't really like you could kind of come in a little bit later, miss a little bit of training camp, because you're really in shape. You're playing basketball year round. Right. So I think it'll help grow the game, but I also think it'll help with the relationships between the leagues.
You know, speaking of relationships, Alyssa Thomas, one of the best hoopers in all of the WNBA, I mean, does absolutely everything. During the playoffs, she spoke out and condemned racism. They're playing, and obviously the Fever fans were being the Fever fans.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that she was willing, in front of the press and the media, to condemn racism. And she said, and now it's on the officials. I've told you what it is. Have you ever had any encounters with things like that since you've been in the WNBA?
No, never. I don't know. I feel like I think a lot of the fans, like the Cailtlin Clark fans, I think they wanted to latch on to Cailtlin Clark and then use her as, like, I guess, like this fuel to be able to be the way that they wanted to be, you know? And I think that's why there was such big backlash when she liked the whole Taylor Swift post saying, like, vote for Kamala Harris, because they want her to be the representation of their racism and you know, like their view on the world, and she's not like that. And I think you have to be careful when you say, like, the Fever fans, because I don't think it's the Fever fans. I think it's the people that wanted Cailtlin Clark to be a certain type of way, and they thought that she was, and so they became Cailtlin Clark fans, assuming that, and then they realized, like, oh no, she's actually not racist. And so now they have to kind of like backtrack and try to find somebody else that can kind of embody the things that they feel. But yeah, no player should have to deal with that. No player should be in any type of situation where they feel like, you know, their life is in danger or that someone wants to harm them because of the color of their skin or harm them in general. So it's crazy that they had to deal with that. And I hope that the WNBA gets it in order and make sure that they have like things in place, because yeah, no one wants to play in a situation like that. I don't think it's fair to the players.
And I believe Jay can whoop some ass too.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can.
She got long arms. She got
And
long
if I
arms.
can, I got one over there who can. Okay, and she from New Orleans too.
Yeah. I ain't tripping on. Yeah, we ain't tripping on none of that.
Yeah, she go too close to the crowd. Ain't nobody talking too nasty to you.
Yeah.
What you say? Nothing. I'm fine.
I know people be talking crazy, and I be hearing them, and I stop and I look at them and be like, "That's not really my face. I'm kind of laughing right now." And they be like,
I look
"No, I ain't saying nothing."
You a little boy, me too. Huh? Leave her alone. Leave her alone. Don't say
Freddie
nothing.
T, do the honors,
Yeah,
man.
man. Hey, this is one of my favorite parts of the show.
Okay.
I get to ask one of the best questions on the show, I think.
Yeah.
But throughout your journey, you know, you mentioned it earlier, delayed but not denied. In that, what's been your biggest pivot in life?
Whew. Biggest pivot in life. I'm gonna say a funny one first. My biggest pivot was when I stopped wearing them dresses and them heels.
Hey, Chad, we dressed up my little cousin Bree for her prom. Well, I know Bree didn't want to wear that
She
dress.
snatched it off?
Man, Bree dressed like me now. We share clothes.
Here I go.
My biggest pivot was when I let that go and I started living my truth, okay? Yeah. But now, like, I mean, for real, I think that was one of the things that, I said this before in like interviews and stuff, but just like coming to the league and like seeing women live their truth, it really gave me the strength to really just not be afraid of it, coming from such a religious background in the Bahamas and, you know, a Christian family and, you know, feeling like I was going against God or going against my family if I lived my truth. And so for years, I just didn't. When I got to the league and I saw people that were doing it and being successful and having families and being happy and healthy, it opened up my eyes and it allowed me to really just step out and do that. And so I think my life is definitely better for it. Like when I walk into a room, like I'm confident in, you know, how I dress, how I look, how I feel. And I know that I'm showing up as me and not what other people want me to show up as. And so that's given me a lot of peace, a lot of inner joy, and a lot of happiness too. So aside from sports, like that's probably the biggest pivot that I've made in my life.
Oh, that's a wrap. I love that. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Bro, hey, I know she used to be mad, got to go buy them heels.
I got all makeup and I don't like this shit.
Hey, Chad, you already know.
Appreciate y'all so
Put that
much.
dress on, he'll be pissed off the whole time.
Thank you.
Hey, and then too though, at 6'6", I know it got to be hard to walk in heels too though.
When you got those KD 17s with Bahamas on the back.
How did I feel?
Yeah.
Man, I felt amazing. I got to get y'all a pair of those.
We all want
They
it.
so
Heck
loud.
yeah.
They are hard.
Yeah, they
go
tough.
crazy.
I felt great. I just felt good that like, no matter what island you was from, if you had a pair of those shoes, you
Right,
had something that rep you.
represent every-
Yeah.
right. 'Cause my people,
I'm not standing next to
yeah.
it.
Make me stand there.
Won't
Anybody
get me.
tall, they was
Hey,
still
babe,
been there.
Pick up down
John Knowles from Long Island.
Won't get me.
And the big motherfuckers always want to do that.
Put that.
Hey, little man shoulder hug.
Hey,
like
do
I'm
like
in the
this.
dressing
Come
room.
on, Chad, they won't do like this. Look.
Come on, little
Put their
fella.
arm like
I
this.
know like Shaq did.
Shaq gonna put his elbow on my mother top
No
of my
way.
head. I said, Shaq, get your goddamn hand off of me.
No.
Yes, sir.
That's funny.
Appreciate y'all,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
We appreciate you. Great talk. Congratulations.
You gonna
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
y'all got connections.
Run with it.
That's what we gotta do, man. Thank y'all so much for having me.
So,
It was a pleasure.
y'all better tap in this year though, cause y'all done hunted now.
Hell yeah, we
Y'all
got
went out and got
to.
it.
Oh, we gonna be
What I
locked
learned,
in.
playing in a small market, you got to stay in their face.
Yeah.
Don't turn down no deals. Make yourself available and go get it.
Yeah.
That's the way you stand in front of the
Using
camera.
J-Bill.
Yeah.
Hold up, limitless. Take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On the vision, I can trust. Limitless. Take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up.